Christmas tree. I'm taking it down. I'm taking it down Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, the tree is going down, and then I'm going to put it up again on the 1st of January. Why? Why not? Whoever said you can't leave your Christmas tree all year round and take it down Christmas Eve? Now, fair enough, it's not really in the norm, is it? But it doesn't matter. I don't take it seriously, so I'm going to leave it up till Christmas Eve, and then I'm going to take it down and I'm going to put it up on the 1st of January. on so long. It goes on way too long from my understanding. A 1, a 2, a 1, a 2, a 3, 4. A bit fucking rocky. Just fucking turn it down here, but get complaining from the fucking Queen. quickly say this. At certain times, for some reason, I don't know why my guitar playing seems to get better. It's not consistent, and sometimes I feel like when I play on my own, it sometimes feels better. It sometimes feels like it's like it improves, like dramatically, like somehow, some way, you know, something happens where I get better at playing it. I can't explain it. At certain times, it's almost like my guitar playing amp. It's not Jimi Hendrix, is it? I'm not saying it's fucking gonna go. I don't think it'll go local in my mind viral, but I'm on about me for what I practice and how much I practice. And at certain times, it seems to increase to a standard which is not what I'm normally good at. So I'm not saying I'm going to go on X Factor and this be a new Christmas #1. Right, so it's not to that standard. I mean, it's pretty shit compared, isn't it? It's pretty shit, but in the sense of me and what I play and how good I am for how much I practice, which is I don't practice. At certain times, it seems to get better, and it's a bit unusual because it gets better than say playing yesterday or the day before. At certain times, it gets better. I watched a video with an interview with Paul McCartney once. And you've all heard me thoughts, or maybe you've not all heard them, but you would have seen posting reference to the number 13 and simulation theory. So whether you've heard them, you would have heard about the number 13 and 17 at some point. And I once watched a video of Paul McCartney. Because I believe, and obviously I believe it, that thoughts can be implemented, and that's where ideas come from, and that's where creativity comes from, and that's where intelligence comes from. It's how, to me, intelligence is programming, it's computer software, it's different levels of computer code. So I want to watch the video with Paul McCartney being interviewed talking about his music, and the interviewer. In fact, it's on YouTube. I think the length of the video is 1 minute and 53. If you type in Paul McCartney yesterday, there's a video that's 1 minute 53. The thumbnail is Paul McCartney. Well, that might have changed. But anyway, in this video, he's asked, what's his favourite song, and Paul McCartney says, well, they're all my babies. You can't really pick one. But the interviewer said, well, the most covered one is the song Yesterday. And Paul McCartney said, well, it's not my favourite song. He didn't say it was his favourite song, but that song Yesterday is his most covered song. It's been covered over 3,000 times. That song has been covered over 3,000 times. It's the most recorded song cover in music history. And he said it's not really his favourite, but it's a fluky song he's ever wrote because it came to him in a dream. The song came to him in a dream, and I thought that was interesting because it's a thought I've had before. Where do ideas come from? Where do as thoughts come from? Where does inventions come from? Why do we have technology? How is it possible to discover secrets of the universe? Why do we have these theories on life and Einstein's theory of relativity and Newton's law of motion? Where does it come from? Because to ask your questions, surely the answer must already exist. Because if we can find an answer by asking a question, then surely the answer must have been there in the first place. Example, if we can work out this universe, if we can work out the mechanisms, and Einstein can be born, in 1886, I believe. 1886, around that period. Einstein was born, I believe, in 1886. And so if Einstein can be born at that time, and work on his theory of relativity, and this makes sense, then surely what he's making sense of must have been there before he was even born. Because Einstein is only asking a question. Einstein is only trying to work it out. He's not the one who created that information. And surely, to write a piece of paper, and we have this complex, field of physics. It's nothing of a mind. I mean, Einstein's a genius. It's a high sense of science. It's almost coming from someone just below God. If Einstein can answer these questions, then surely the answer must already exist. Because how is he able to? And this is part of why I question my reality. And I do. Because how can I not? When this doesn't make sense to me, that Einstein can ask a question about this universe, and he can work out on a piece of paper, and it doesn't make sense to him, so then he scribbles it out, and then it still doesn't make sense, and then he comes up with the answer through that thinking and working something out, and then he creates the answer, and then other people look at it and agree on what he's wrote. But surely the answer must exist before he's even thought it. So people asking the questions in life, people asking the question does not create the answer. And no matter how many times Einstein, gets something wrong, it's always got to be right. Because him getting it wrong does not create the answer to be right, does it? Einstein making a mistake in his work does not create the correct answer. The answer must already exist. It's like going for an exam. It's like going for an exam and you've got 10 questions, and the first question is, what is the capital of London? Now the answer has to be there, because how do you pass your exam? How do you get your marks? How do you get, your GC? How do you get your A, B, or C? The answer must exist, and the answer does exist. London is what is the capital, of England? And the answer is London. So London must be the answer. It can't be anything else, can it? Because it's 10 different people go for that test, and the question is, what is the capital of England? And then it can't be 10 different answers, so it can only be one. Only one can be right, and it has to be London. It can't be, Brussels or Belgium or Washington, can it? It can't be, Paris. 10 people can't have a different answer for the same question. Either 10 people get it right and it's London, or 5 people get it right and 5 people get it wrong. But not everyone can have a different answer. The answer must already exist. So when Einstein's working on his theory of relativity, amongst other works obviously, but my point is this: the answer must be there to begin with. The answer must already exist, because asking the question does not create the answer. And a person making mistakes and writing out and getting it wrong and thinking about it does not create the right answer. Does not create the right answer. It's either right or it's wrong. And what we understand about life in the universe must already be there to begin with. So this is why I question reality and where the thoughts and ideas come from, and thoughts can be implanted. Ideas can be implanted. A lot, you could, if you've got the capability, your life can implant, anything, like music, because Paul McCartney's song yesterday was released on the 13th of September 1965. So when I heard that, Paul McCartney's Flukiest song was his song yesterday, and that's been covered over 3,000 times, and that song was released on the 13th of September 1965. To hear that, and plus we thought so bad on where do ideas come from, and thoughts, and what's creation, what's in technology. Because I think about things, I don't speak about them because people are interested. My friends, well, I don't see my friends. They've got families, they've got kids, they've got work. When they go out, they want to get pissed. They don't want to talk about anything deep and philosophical or meaning. I do in my private time, or if I had like-minded friends. So I've got a lot of interest in life. I've got a lot of thoughts on life. I like to think about life. I like to philosophize. I like to question things, not trying to find something, just to question life, our existence, to talk about it and to wonder. It's part of an interest. I mean, I don't have any friends who are interested in that type of stuff, but I'm interested in these questions and intelligence and where do thoughts and where do ideas come from, and what is everything about. And Paul McCartney's song yesterday was released on the 13th of September 1965. That's the most covered song in history. And he said that song came to him in a dream. He said it came to him in a dream. And it was the flukiest song. I've heard other artists say the same. The medley, they woke up humming it. I personally think that song yesterday, in his mind, was either activated or it was implanted, and that's why he dreamt it. Because when he dreamt it, when he had that dream and he woke up with a melody, that's when the process of implanting the song yesterday, which I don't think Paul McCartney would be happy about if he realised it wasn't primarily him who wrote the song. And it's an illusion in the sense of Paul McCartney wrote it. He had different words for it to begin with. He didn't have the exact words. He might have wrote one line and thought, no, I'm changing my mind. He might have wrote another line, changed his mind. But in the end, he was always going to write the lyrics he wrote. The song that he wrote was there before he made a change. The song yesterday, the lyrics, the full lyrics, were there before he wrote the first line. In making a change to the song, changing the melody was part of that illusion of him actually creating it. Just like Einstein making a mistake with the theory of relativity and getting an equation wrong, or it didn't make sense, the answer must have already existed to begin with. Because Einstein making a mistake and getting it wrong does not correct it. It doesn't create the right answer, does it? Einstein's work and all the other works and all these minds and discoveries must be there to begin with, and it must be coming from somewhere else, because we're not creating the answer, are we? We're just asking the question, and to ask the question does not create the answer. The answer must be there, just like thoughts and ideas. You can implant thoughts, you can implant memories, you can implant your music, and like this. At certain times my music gets better for some reason that doesn't seem to fit in what I normally play, what I'm not consistent with. Certain times it's almost like there's an energy, something that takes over. Now I don't feel control. I'm not saying anyone's controlling me. I'm just questioning life. I'm thinking about thought implants. I'm thinking about ideas and music. And Paul McCartney's song yesterday came to me in a dream, and it's something I thought about before. Where does information come from? Where do thoughts come from? And to end where I started, so I don't start again, my music seems to get better at certain times, and energy takes over. It's something I've questioned before. Why at certain times does my music get better? And if you can do something to the mind where a person's music can get better, then what else can you do? If you have that capability, if people, in the highest realm of this land have that capability, and they can implement it at certain times, because it's unusual to the point of it's not consistent, and sometimes it feels a bit better than it normally is, and energy. And plus with Paul McCartney's song, this kind of came to him in a dream. It's something what I think. The ideas are implanted, and everything we know is coming from a much higher source of power, a much higher source of creation. This is where life is, and why we're here. It's almost like a simulation, and I can speak from experience. I can speak from experience on this Matrix. Now the film Matrix exists. There's a film called The Matrix. Simulation theory is very much a thought. There's books being wrote on it. There's a guy called Professor James Gates. There's binary code and string theory, and Michio Kaku, a physicist, he talks about it. Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about it in a debate with Professor James Gates. So simulation theory, Matrix, is very much a thought in the air. The film Matrix is not a delusional belief, is it? The Matrix is not a delusional idea. Computers exist. Quantum mechanics is where we are in the world today. Google are doing a lot with quantum mechanics. There's a lot going on in the field of physics and the universe. So it's not a delusional thought, and I need to clarify that this is an interest, not a delusional belief. Unless the Matrix is a delusional belief. Unless binary code is a delusional belief. Unless Professor James Gates, who turned string theory, is a delusional belief. Unless computers don't exist, and it's all in my head, and I'm just creating everything around me on my own. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a belief in life, not a delusional one. I just thought to clarify that, because sometimes people go away with the fairies and seem to think what I say is a delusion. I'm speaking about things that exist. I'm speaking about a film called The Matrix. I'm on about this reality, this system. Maybe I've got a bit of a complex. Maybe I've got a bit of an attitude problem. In fact, I have got an attitude problem away from this. I do have an attitude problem. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there. But sometimes music increased, and Paul McCartney's song yesterday was released on the 13th of September 1965, and that song came to him in a dream. He said it came to him in a dream. Paul McCartney 13 letters as well. I'm looking to look at John Lennon's Mind Game and see what position it came in the charts in 1974. 1974 Mind Games. 1974 Mind Games. 1974, 73. John Lennon's Mind Games. 1973 John Lennon's Mind Games. The first song, Mind Games, is 4 minutes and 13 seconds. It came 13 in the UK album charts, number 9 in the Americans. I believe we're all in a matrix. I believe we're in a simulation within a simulation, and we're all being controlled from a much higher source of creation. All of us. At the end of.